I was living in Vienna at the time. It was it's 2015. And I was, I think at that time around 38, 39. And I was quite a few months pregnant. And it was a scary thought being pregnant. It was the first time I'd been pregnant in my life, and I didn't know what to expect, what the future would hold. Worried about the future, especially, you know, with these times that are changing very rapidly. And I remember feeling happy, but at the same time feeling there wasn't something quite right. So that afternoon I was driven to the hospital, and something had gone horribly wrong. I think I might have been hemorrhaging or losing blood, and they said they needed to immediately check and see what's going on with me. Unfortunately, they told me that I'd lost the baby, but that I needed to have an immediate operation to remove the fetus, otherwise I could have died. So I remember being, wheeled into the operation room and feeling all stressed and nervous, and at the same time feeling a complete failure, and thinking, what about the child? The child's dead now, and what's my future? I'm not going to be a mother. It was an absolutely depressing and a very lost feeling that I had at the time. And I remember as they put me under anesthesia, some people react to anesthesia, and I think I might have been one of them. And my heart rate went up and my blood pressure went up. And at that moment, I remember lots of doctors looking at me and just not knowing what to do. Their faces went grey. And as that happened, that immediate moment, another reality opened up for me. And I think what I realize now is that in that moment, I was sucked into a reality that is actually always around us, but we cannot perceive that reality because we're living in a different frequency. I think if we were able to tune into that frequency all the time, we'd go mad. So we have a specific frequency spectrum that we are attuned to as human beings going on in our daily lives. And the moment that happened to me, I think my entire reality shifted and became much bigger. And I remember seeing water all around me, like above me actually, and I was sucked into this watery realm. And I immediately knew that this was where we come from. This was real in a sense of where we are as human beings is almost like a dream state. A lot of Australians, the Aboriginal people, they speak about this world, this reality being the dream state. And as we awaken, we go into the realm of eternity, which is the real realm, the realm where we all dwell, where we come from, without our physicality, without our flesh. And as I was in this realm, I must say I didn't feel different. I felt possibly much more of who I'd always been. I felt very much me, but at the same time having a rather much larger awareness of time, of depth, of color, of vision, of knowingness. I think suddenly I knew everything. It's like you understand immediately where you are, who these beings or who these people or whoever you meet, who they are to you. And it just felt like home. It felt like an eternal home where we always came from, where we always go back to. And when I entered this realm, I saw these two incredible thrones, marble type of thrones with two fish beings. They were humanoid beings, but half of their tails were like mermaid fish tails. And it sounds like ridiculous, but over the years, I understand now what they are. They are ancient beings that have been painted all over the world, from Mesopotamian times to the Egyptian hieroglyphs. They're seen on walls. They're seen everywhere, these mermaid beings. They've just been forgotten about and not known. And then I realized that those are the beings I saw and met. And these beings are very real and have been spoken about for hundreds of thousands of years. And meeting them, of course, at that time in 2015, I had no idea who they were. They had indigo eyes, they had bluish skin, nothing to do with Avatar, because I hadn't seen Avatar at that point. I just, you know, saw them, and they had this bluish, this sky blue skin, indigo eyes, and their hair was made out of feathers. So instead of having long hair from indigo to white to purple, so it was incredibly beautiful colors, but very, it seemed to me now, if I think about it, very spiritual colors. And they just looked at me. There was no word spoken at all. It was just purely telepathic. And they said to me that I was home, and I had finally arrived with my tribe, my soul tribe. And I suppose I wasn't sure what to make of it, because you forget immediately about the life you've just had. I couldn't even remember who I was, to be honest, in this world. It's like everything that you were here in this lifetime kind of disappears very, very quickly and isn't really relevant anymore. And then you're there, and suddenly that's relevant, and all the memory comes back to who you are there. They told me I wasn't supposed to have children in my life here on Earth, which immediately took away the grief, which was a wonderful thing at the time. I was filled with this deep, profound love from them, this forgiveness, this deep empathy, this deep warmth, this coming home feeling, this family feeling. And they showed me lots of different images, future scenarios. Lots of the images I can't remember anymore. It's very, very difficult to remember that kind of stuff when you come back to this realm, because you forget very quickly. But I remember thinking, I will not forget what they looked like. And I don't know how long this all lasted, but I remember waking up, and my husband, who's a doctor next to me, I was speaking to him in a fluent language, which now, in hindsight, seemed an ancient language, which sounded almost like a lot of Ka letters, ka. It sounded a cross between, I don't know, Hopi, Native American. It sounded a mixture between dolphin sounds, whale sounds. It was a really strange language. And I was speaking this to him for 10 minutes until eventually it dispersed and disappeared. And then I was back in my body, fully here. So very interesting experience. But when I think about it now, I understand that it's not that I went anywhere. It's that, and this has taken me many, many years to understand. I've done many interviews all around the world speaking that I went to a place. But I actually understand now that I didn't go anywhere. It's just that the reality shifted and opened up more of what actually is always around us every single moment. We're just not tuned into the light spectrum that's available to us in this physical life where we are now. When I came back, I was filled with this unbelievable joy, this joy for life, this joy of, you know, being able to experience something like that, and knowing it wasn't a dream, because dreams are blurry and don't really feel real. And this felt almost as if I'd stepped into another room full of psychedelic experiences. This is how I can explain it. It's like I opened a door into a magical room, and I just walked through. I have met some other women around the world that have had similar experiences with these. There are endless amounts of interdimensional beings that are around us, that hold different frequencies that we can connect to, as well as the Christ Yeshua, who is a very real being, full of light and connected to God. And all of these beings are connected to God in some shape or form. However, I think that some of them, there might be some type of a hierarchy going on there, not based on ego, but based on universal love. I didn't have a life review, because when I got there, I knew exactly who I was. I knew exactly that I was connected to an eternal tribe, which is unusual because a lot of people have their life reviews. But what I experienced when I was there was just knowing exactly who I was, understanding it and understanding where I came from, and understanding also that we never die. There was no moment at all like that. It was just that they spoke to me, they showed me things. And as they showed me things, the image got further and further away. And then I slowly woke up again in my physical form. So it was almost, I see it now as a gift that was given to me. It was a gift to kind of take me out of this logical brain and stop over analyzing everything and asking if this is real or not, you know, because there are experiences in life we just cannot explain. There is no science to back that up. You can't be logical to back that up. They just happen. And I think ever since then, weird things started happening. so that was really a door opening up for me, where I started to expand my consciousness and how I see things, how I see people, how I experience life, and how I experience love and give love. I remember I immediately made a Facebook post back in 2016, I think, or maybe it was even the same year, 2015, about having just gone through all of that and having seen the blue feathered haired beings, which I told the entire story of what happened. And I remember I got a lot of feedback from a lot of people. Strangely enough, it's always women that are very interested in that, more so than men, which says a lot, because women generally tend to be more open to supernatural experiences. They seem to be more perceptive and more psychic, more intuitive. So women in general understand these things much more. We're much more emotional beings. We feel our way through life, don't we? We don't go here, but we go here in our hearts, which is great. Don't ever change. And so when I wrote this post down, I got lots of lovely feedback from women. So it reassured me that I wasn't alone. There were similar stories of other people, but not the same. You know, they also had passed and then come back with similar experiences. So it gave me hope. It made me realize I wasn't crazy. And it made me realize that there is so much more than we could possibly ever imagine. I think that this is just the very beginning of what we are finding out about consciousness. I think we haven't even surpassed the beginning stages yet. I think that the human consciousness beyond the body and the brain is something that is expanding more and more and more. And I think it expands into eternity. It never ends. So when we die, every time we die, we bring back these incredible gifts of our teachings, of our lessons here on earth. And then we go into the next realm where we're back home, where we are with whoever we want to be. Because I think that we're master manifestors, we're sparks from God's source. We're connected to God. And we are not God, but we are connected to God. And we are here to experience from God through ourselves what life is like. We may live as an artist and live in the middle of nature and experience life, having a free life and being able to see things in a colorful way. We may live in a very hard life and grow up in poverty. But these are all experiences, and we don't judge them. We judge them in our physical forms, but when we're in the other side, judgment doesn't exist. It's more like, that was an experience. It wasn't a great one, but we had to experience it for whatever reason. And God only knows, literally, why we had to go through this life. Well, my husband reacted in an adorable way. He's a Pisces, so he's very naturally psychic anyway, and as a doctor, that's a wonderful thing to be. It's a lovely combination. This was the second time in his life that he had heard someone speak a similar language. He remembers one time where somebody woke up from a coma and also spoke a similar language, not the same, but a similar language fluently. So there has been a lot of research about people being able to speak languages. One man woke up from an experience dying and speaking fluent Latin. He had never learned Latin before, and I just happened to speak some strange, I can only imagine it might even have been Babylonian language, that no longer exists, but the sound of it, I still can feel it in my being. It is so different to the languages that you hear on our earth, in our realm here, because this language isn't just a fluid language of words, it's a fluid language of frequencies as well, of high pitches and low pitches. It almost seems tribal and ancient and almost bird-like, but ocean-like as well. So it's really interesting. And I'm sure that these ancient languages come through us when we have these incredible experiences. Before my near-death experience in 2015, I was obsessively on Instagram, trying lots of different outfits on and posing, and not really having a direction in life, as many of us tend to fall into obsession on Instagram. And I think after that, it was such a radical change in my life that I let go of being someone I wasn't, pretending to be somebody I wasn't. And I remember one of the first things that radically shifted in me was, from never having any direction in my life at all, I became a painter, literally overnight. I started painting. I'd never painted in my life before, which was really bizarre. And I just had this absolute urge to paint. Sorry, it's just Amy. Say hello, Amy. Yeah. And I started painting these incredible colors that I'd seen on the other side, because I wanted to express these colors, because this realm, it's like you're stepping into a house that is like this, the most weirdest, wonderful house. The most weirdest, wonderful house. Here is the little door, you're stepping into it, and then you have all these incredible colors in there. And that's what my art felt like. I started painting these most amazing colors that I'd seen on the other side. And it just made me feel home again, because without that, I would have been so lost in my life. What was this experience for? Why did I experience it? And I realized I needed to bring this joyful realm back into this earthly realm and share it with everyone. So what happened next? I started painting these incredible paintings, which I'll share with you, called soul frequency paintings. And what these are paintings that I send all over the world to my clients. Sorry, there's Joshua. It's interesting, huh? He's also saying hello. And I start to paint all these paintings. And what happens is that after my 2015 experience, I became, of course, like many of us do, more psychic and able to see things, having very clear visions about things, feeling into people's pasts. I could sense everything about a person's past, down to the moment they were depressed, sitting on their bed when they were 15. Can you see that? Yeah, there you go. It's a 1 meter by 1 meter painting, which is underwater, called An Ode to Water. And I painted that because that was the place I went to. I went to this underwatery realm with these half-fish beings, and I wanted to bring that back into this realm. So this is a very powerful painting, and it sits between Joshua and Mother Mary holding Jesus, because I think what connects us to this God source is water. I believe that water is God. Water is everything. Water is the sustenance for life, for being alive, for all the plants, for everything you see here on earth, including us. Nothing could be alive without this watery, fluidy thing, water. So water wasn't a huge thing in my NDE. It was something that really was, I don't know, I just know that these beings were trying to teach me about water and showing me that they're half watery beings, and the realm that I went to was water. So I believe that water is much more than we think it is. I think water can heal us. There were experiments in the 1920s or 30s where a doctor would inject seawater into people and eradicate and heal their entire illnesses. So we are totally clueless what water truly is. In Japan, Emoto, a Japanese scientist who sadly passed away in 2014, I think it was, he started doing experiments with water where he had two jugs of water, one with love on it and one with hate on it. And he would speak to the water with love on it with loving words, and the one with hate on it with hateful words. And then he would take the water, each of them, and put them under a microscope and look at them, look at the microscope, the water underneath. And in the loving frequency, the water was expanding and create the most incredible crystals. And in the hateful water, the crystals were all broken and disformed. So what he found out, Emoto, is that when you speak to water, it can heal. And he started doing incredible experiments on dirty water in lakes with a group of people where they completely cleared the lake water just by praying over it. Just by praying over it. What does that mean? It means that if we are truly conscious and connected to our hearts when we pray, we can heal water. Where is water? We also have water in us, and we can heal every illness inside of us if we connect to our hearts. A lot of information there. How do I see life now with all the turmoil that's happening in the world, which is unbelievably crazy? Many people around the world just don't know what to do anymore. We feel at a loss. We feel like we don't have a future anymore. We feel depressed. It changed me in the sense of knowing that we need to go through things to become a better version of ourselves sometimes. And maybe through hardship and, you know, not thinking so much about ourselves and maybe helping each other through these times is going to bring and expand a greater sense of love within humanity, because I think humanity really needs to transform into a higher version of love now. It's not anymore about which side are we on, which color are we at, which religion are we from. It's really about how can we come together and be our greatest versions together. It's not about, you know, the rich or the poor anymore. It's about us understanding that we are super powerful, super potent, and have an ability that we've never been taught at school. We have an ability to do much greater things if we use our hearts. Relationships did change. I just wanted to be around authentic people, specifically people that don't lie. You know, I think I could fine tune a liar a million miles away. I could just tell who's inauthentic and who's real. And I just got rid of the people that no longer resonate with the heart. You know, I think all of us have done that in the last 6 years. We've stepped away from inauthentic relationships and gone much more deeper to the heart way of being. And I think I can speak for millions of people out there that have done the same, you know. Yet at the same time, you know, we're brainwashed with division and war and killing. But I think that the greater sense of all of this is that we are actually a very peaceful humanity. And once we come together truly and awaken in our hearts, we can really do wonderful things. I think we have to be really careful tuning into the media, the propaganda that's out there to brainwash us and try and control us. And we need to understand that that's just an illusion. That's not how we create great things in this realm. How to love myself unconditionally without judgment. Therefore, I could love another unconditionally without judgment. And I think that was one of the greatest gifts, to see everybody else as myself. And when you start to see everybody else as yourself, you understand that we're just one enormous family. What lies beyond this reality is endless. And whatever we believe in, we experience there. But at the same time, it's full of joy and full of love. and it's a sense of home. So there is no fear there. It doesn't exist. That's not the frequency that you can even tune into there. It's only a feeling of peace. And I think that a lot of people are very fearful right now of having their souls trapped, because there's a lot of information about having your souls trapped once you go to the light. So many of us have gone into the light where we didn't want to return back to this realm because we felt at absolute peace. So please don't feel brainwashed as well by people that say that the light is a trap, because they haven't had that experience. And unless you've had that experience, you'll know. So be really mindful and careful who you listen to, who talks about that, especially people that haven't had those experiences. I think there is an endless existence of interdimensional beings. I think there's lots and lots of different frequencies, not just love, but higher versions of love. I also think that there are also lower versions of love, which go into the fear part and the hate. So one always has to understand that once you let go of fear, life starts to create beautiful things for you. And when you pass into a realm where you immediately are met by loving beings, you don't need to be afraid anymore, because you're literally back in the arms of God. I actually wrote a book about these beings, and it's called Oceans of Memory. Here they are. Oceans of Memory, sorry, Guardians of the Waters. And I sell that on my website in my shop. And it's quite an amazing book because it also talks about Jeshua and the Essenes and the connection to what these beings, who they are. They're actually called Abkalu, and the Mesopotamian culture civilization spoke about the Abkalu, that they were beings from water, and that I think there were 7 beings that came to the earth after the great floods, after the resets, and helped humanity rebuild Earth again, and help humanity with art, with science, with music, but not the science we have in our realm today, a totally different type of science, a science more connected to nature. So somewhere, somehow, somewhere in the multi-universe, these beings exist. And this is quite a lovely book. So everything that you want to read about my experience and about that water is the breath beneath all memory, the hidden light within the ocean of the soul. It's really a wonderful book to read. So yeah, have a look in my shop if you're interested. Swim in water as much as you can. Swim in water. Go out into the water, whether it's a river, whether it's a pool, whether it's the sea, preferably more natural places without chlorine, like seawater, lake water, mountain water, wherever water, and go into that because it's so healing. A lot of people have gone into the sea, into the waters when they're chronically ill and have gotten better. And I was one of those people. In 2020, I got really chronically ill, and the seawater actually helped me over the years get well again. So it was part of my healing experience, the ocean. So don't underestimate that the sea, the waters are listening. We just need to speak to it. You see, I think it's something that we've always done. We've just forgotten about it. You kind of have memory from that inside of you, that you do that naturally. Your parents naturally go out in the ocean, and it goes through to the children, and it one day go to your children. So it's an incredible thing how like ancient people remember this. And I'm sure the Philippines are very connected to water there, very connected. Must be a beautiful place. I want to go there one day. Other than my soul frequency paintings that I tune into people, and I create these art pieces for people all over the world, I write what the symbols mean in the painting, because they're very intricate symbols that I create, and it takes me at least a week to create something as intricate as this, because I go layer over layer over layer. And when I write because I write a letter with these paintings, the meanings behind what I see and feel of the people that receive these paintings. So the colors represent different things. the symbols in the painting represent different things to that person. So I write it all out like a story and the meaning behind it. I'm in process actually of painting the mer beings. It's just the beginning of it. So obviously it's still in process, but once I get I have to do the faces, but I don't know if you can tell, this is the ancient language that I've written on the side here. So I go into this meditation when I create these paintings, and it's almost like this ancient language that comes to me. And I saw this in a dream. This was in a dream that it had to be turquoise. This color is a very, very powerful, powerful color. And it represents joy, joy. Remember the joy. That's what I want to say to people out there. Remember the joy, no matter what we go through here now, whether it's, you know, hard times that are in front of us, we must remember the joy in our hearts and not be brainwashed to do things. We must always remember that we have an opportunity to create in this life and to stay free, not be controlled or told to do anything we don't want to do. We have to stay free. That's really important, because there's going to be a lot of fear telling us that we need to do certain things, and we must stand strong against it and remember that we are sovereign, that we are nature and natural beings, and we came to this world that way. And just hold on to the freedom. That's what I can say, because with freedom, we will always be able to find the love in this realm. Actually, what I did do was, I sell this in my shop, this one. This was called Sirius B, because this is what I imagined I sell this in my shop on my website. This is one of the beings that I saw. It's you can never paint something like that because it's so you know, ethereal. But this was one of the beings that I painted, and it's I don't know, this was one of my first paintings, so it wasn't really a great painting. So it was one of my first ones. And then I started going more and more into abstract art. And this is a really lovely one. Sorry, the screen is moving around a lot. What I love so much about these paintings is that when you touch them, you can feel all the textures. It feels almost like, I don't know, a spiritual, like a key unlocking something when I create these paintings. It's like a key, and that's what the soul frequency paintings are as well. When I send them to people, it's a key unlocking you with your highest potential. And when you have a painting like this in your house, it brings another kind of frequency into your home. So this is an ancient picture. These are very old African symbols in here that I've implemented in here. And I'm just obsessed with detail. I wasn't into art paintings either in my 20s. After the near-death experience, it's just, that's when I started painting. So I wouldn't say it's a personality change. It's almost becoming who I've always meant to be. It was a gift from God, stepping into my full power, connected to source. This life is about energy. It's not about sitting back on the couch and, you know, getting depressed about things. It's about standing in our full power and doing as much as we can, helping each other, being there for each other, creating, making with our hands, whatever it is, whether it's wood carvings, whether it's ceramics, whether it's painting, whether it's sewing, needlework, or even writing or poetry. Doesn't matter. We are here as artists, all of us, to create. And even if you don't think you're an artist, you are. You just have to find out what type of artist are you. Last year in the Philippines, a miracle happened. It was a couple of Filipino girls in their mid-20s, late 20s, that were singing to some prisoners in a prison. They were behind a cell, you know, but they were sitting there singing to them. I think they did that every week to kind of help the prisoners, and they sang Christian songs. And as they sang Christian songs, one of them was filming the whole thing. And a miracle happened, that they started hearing an angelic choir in that, you know, there were only 4 of them singing a song. So there's no way that this incredible choir started of angels singing. And this happened in the Philippines last year. It was an incredible miracle. I mean, it gives you goosebumps because you can literally hear as if 10,000 people are there singing. It's unbelievable. And I know that miracles exist. I know they do. Unfortunately, this stupid AI is overtaking now. So nobody knows what miracles are anymore or what the reality is. And it's all done on purpose. AI has been released right now because miracles are happening, and they want to hide that. They want to hide what the miracles that are happening. You see, that's why AI is out. They want to hide the truth of that their miracles are happening now. That's really important as well. Anyone can connect with me on my website, which is good old-fashioned www.nicolemuse. So NicoleMeus.com, NicoleMuse.com. They can reach out, they can see my art, they can have a look at my shop, they can email me. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. If anybody, needs a slap around the face to wake up, here's your girl. Wake up, it's okay, put you back on your path, show you some inspiration, tell you, just ignite the flame in you to say you can do it no matter what. Just believe in yourself. I'm your girl.